this is who I am. Like at the end of the day, like, you can fucking tell Anakin not to hit chokeholds on fucking random ass people and kill younglings, but Anakin wants to fucking wreck the younglings. This man ate a double Wagyu burger, which I didn't think was possible because those things are filling. And
then I went and rolled.
Left hooks are free, right hooks are always half off. Fuck you, fuck your mother. Alright everyone, and welcome to Left Hooks Are Free, where right hooks are always half off. As always, I am joined by my beautiful co-host, the Husky Messiah. Let's see here. Let's start with, you just came back from the Kokomo. I live in Kokomo. You can DM me for the Addy if you want to run up. I really don't care. What did you think?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I had to travel through the evil country to get to Kokomo, and I was very upset by that.
How about the south route, though? Was it that bad?
Actually, my GPS fucked me and didn't even take me the south route. I got to the light, and it's like, go left onto the whatever road. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. And I sat there at the light, and I was like, I'm just going to listen to her because I'm tired. And I don't feel like fucking with her, and I know it's supposed to snow later. So I started going, and she's like, take a right. And I was like, you fucking bitch. You taking me back to the evil route. Back by it. And I seen them again. There they were, outside.
Standing there, looking at you.
Father, there's a man of sin outside. Fucking got behind another buggy, an old dude and his wife, and they both kept turning around, smiling and waving. I'm like, why are you guys like just waving over and over and over again? I followed them for like 2 miles, and then they kept turning around, smiling. I was like, look fucking forward, make that horse. Because I couldn't, because it was like all fucking hills and cars coming and shit, so I was like stuck behind them. And then the fucking wife just kept staring at me, like, into my fucking soul. And I was like, I don't like you. Like, don't look at me. Put your fucking eyes down. I was half tempted to be like, jokes. These are jokes. But I don't like Amish people. That's the moral of this story. And there's a lot of them en route.
Well, that
Kokomo
sucks that you didn't go through Indy and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've drove through Indianapolis before. I've been to Indianapolis before in my life.
Right.
So I'm kind of hip. Kokomo is cool, kind of small, smaller than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
It's a lot like my hometown.
Shout out to Tiffany at Prodigy Burger. I'm really proud of her. She's the only one on shift. She made sure to tell us multiple times. And I'm really impressed that she's the only one on shift considering the amount of drugs she had to have been on while doing it.
That's probably how she was able to manage being the only one on shift. She's usually the only one on shift. That's what's funny about it.
Oh, for real? She's like always there?
Yeah.
What's funny to me is that she's like, she asked you to see your ID to go sit at a booth.
At the bar.
But we didn't sit at the, she didn't even put us at the fucking bar.
She was planning on putting us at the bar. She thought about it, and then she decided against it at the last second.
I know, but my thought is like, why even do that? Like, there's literally 4 other people in this fucking bitch. And she was like, y'all drinking? We're like, no. She's like, I'm going to sit you at the bar. It's like, okay. She's like, how old are you?
I think they're trying to, like, space people out a little bit, too. I don't know.
I think Tiffany's just intoxicated on them narcotics.
She might have been. Probably. Hopefully.
Well, she was at our table fucking taking our orders like this.
I enjoy that.
Like, I know, but she's making me nervous.
These things, but I like when people are interesting.
She did end up being fun, so I did appreciate that. She was fun to talk to.
I messed with her like immediately too, so.
Yes, you did.
I probably didn't help our interactions.
That I enjoyed it. I couldn't quite handle her responses, so I had to keep looking away, but I was enjoying the interaction.
So we walked in, and she sees me, the skinny guy wearing matching colored hat with a shirt, and it's all Stanford gear with my mask on. So I kind of might look like the Husky boy's son. There's a chance. He's looking older these days, and with a mask on, you really can't tell if I'm 12 or if I'm 30. She said, "Are you old enough to sit at the bar?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah." And she goes, "Are you positive?" And I said, "HIV positive."
Oh, I forgot about that.
And then of course, she laughed at that. And then she was like, "No, seriously." And then I pulled down my mask. She's like, "Oh, never mind." It's like, "Yeah, I'm decrepit. I'm just skinny."
It was just, I don't know.
And then when she came up to take our drink order, I asked her for chocolate milk and applesauce.
Two sides of applesauce. The only thing that I enjoyed about her, I think the most, well, not the only thing, the thing I enjoyed the most was her attempt at memorizing our order, which took like way longer than it would have been to just write it down.
Well, you say this man ate a double Wagyu burger, which I didn't think was possible because those things are filling. And
then I went and rolled.
Yeah, did you get sick? I felt sick.
Completely fine.
Of course, I rolled like a savage. So
I had no fucking cardio. Let's talk about the gym experience.
All right, go ahead.
It's a legit gym. I'm not mad at that at all. Your instructor was on point. I liked what he had to say. Is that how you say gaha?
Gaha.
Gaha.
In Spanish it would be garra, but you can't do that either.
I can't roll my R's. See, the problem is he just growls and growls, and then he eats Poot's face. So he's like, "I've growled, and there's no fight to be had. So my little brother's here, happily playing with his toy in the corner. Let me go try to bite his fucking eyeballs out like Miss Peregrine's fucking children."
Peregrine.
Whatever fuck her name is.
Peregrine.
Oh, I just thought that was Peter's fucking wife.
What?
Peter Pettigrew. I thought her and old bitch were like a thing.
Yeah, I had him watch Miss Peregrine's School for Home School. Oh, I don't remember. For Peculiar Children.
That's a creepy movie.
I knew would fuck with him because it's
very creepy movie.
Super sci-fi / fantasy, whatever the hell you want to call it, and it's out there, and he likes out there. He also likes creepy and somewhat violent as well. So
I like Enoch, or how the fuck you say his name?
Enoch.
He's a dickhead, but I like that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Dude,
back to the
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Fuck it.
No, I was just gonna tangent off of that and fucking ask you some crazy shit that popped in my head, but we can get to that after.
All right, I was gonna go back to Gaha Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Your instructor's cool. I liked him. I like his mindset. I like the way he teaches class. Old boy Fox was dope. He smells lovely, by the way. Shout out to him. I don't know what he's using, but it smells a lot like my Dr. Teal's lavender bath salts. So that's always nice. You know when you roll with somebody and they smell like a sweaty dude, it sucks. But every now and then, somebody's like, "Here, let me show you something." Makes an adjustment. I'm like, "Hey, you smell good too. Appreciate that." Not laying on me stanking.
Yeah, I'm just used to it, man. I fucking wrestled in high school, which was basically just everyone stanked.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Kind of seems sketch to me because like now you're dealing with teenagers that aren't hip to like good hygiene practices or like being
that's
considerate to others.
Dog. That's how you walk around with a fucking circle on your face.
Fuck that.
Yeah, the fucking mark of the beast itself.
The mark of the beast.
That's how you know. There's two ways to figure out whether somebody in high school is to be fucked with or not, and that's if they're under the age of 18 and already have cauliflower ear, leave them alone. And also, if they have a perpetual problem with ringworm, leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah, that means they're getting the
they're
reps
not the
in.
one.
Yeah, they're working. No, but everybody was cool there. There's one cat that was like, that dude's a character. I like him. He's starting a militia that he was very aggressively trying to recruit me into.
Yeah, I still don't know what he meant by militia. Like, what is it? A Facebook group? I mean, what is he really talking about here? You don't join a militia. There's no like, and if you do, you might be a terrorist.
I think he was legitimately talking about he has a compound and a stockpile of weapons that
I'm gonna leave that alone though.
A community of people are like throwing in on.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that one alone. Like that
I
sounds
would
like
not,
some.
I would not go
weird
to that
shit.
man's compound.
No. Yeah, you probably get waterboarded as like an initiation or something.
Well, he showed me his mouth guard. Have you seen his mouth guard?
No.
Oh wow! I put my mouthpiece in to do the roll, like the sparring at the end, and he's like, "That's nice. You must be cool. Here's my mouth guard," and like flicked, and like all his front like 3 teeth just came down on like a little, whatever them joints are.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "That's my mouth guard," and I was like, "You put that shit back in, you fucking snapping turtle."
So yeah, it looked like you got some good rolls in.
Definitely did.
I got some good rolls in. Felt good.
My
Felt good
cardio's
afterwards.
trash.
Yeah, mine is too. But like I said, I was talking with you yesterday about that. The fix to the cardio for me is to just not allow my heart rate to go super high and just kind of work within my aerobic range, which is really, really, really hard to do because basically I clamp everything.
Yeah.
And I had the same issue in rock climbing. I remember rock climbing was really, really hard for me to slow down when I climb. And it's basically the same type of like bodily actions. That's the thing. Rock climbing is the same. Like what you're doing with your body is exactly the same.
Creating a lot of tension, a lot of isometric holds.
And being deliberate. Everything, like all your movements are deliberate. Like even when you're scrambling, it's deliberate. Same with rock climbing. When you're being explosive, it's very deliberate what you're doing with your explosions.
Very calculated, thought out.
Yeah, and like I was talking with you yesterday, and like obviously like I was like somewhat mentally broken by the idea that like I needed to like transfer the way I was training. Because I was upset pretty much until this morning with myself. And basically after I got out of the shower this morning, I was like, why were you so upset? And it dawned on me that I felt like I had spun my wheels for like the last few sessions. And you know me, I hate wasting training time. Like I like to maximize training time as much as I can when I do something. And I was like, no, this morning I was like, you didn't waste your time. I mean, if you're getting dominant positions on blue belts at times, then you're doing something right. Like it or not, I'm doing something right. And I'm not thinking of jiu-jitsu as I haven't been looking at jiu-jitsu as trying to learn jiu-jitsu. I've been trying to learn how to fight.
Yeah, that was kind of what was concerning to me. Is I was like, I feel like you're skipping out on learning jiu-jitsu through and through. Yeah, it's a longer road, but I feel like it's a more beneficial road.
Well, I'm trying to stay away from this idea. Like, a lot of people go into a martial art and they see the belt systems, and the very first thing they want to do is move up in the belt systems.
Yeah.
And it's with any sport, it's that way. So rock climbing is the same thing. Like the very first thing everyone wants to do is see how high of a rating on a boulder they can go, or like they want to hit 513 on the rock wall as fast as they can. You know, they want to get to where they have the cred. You know, and in jiu-jitsu, blue belt's essentially like where you start getting a little bit of cred. Like you don't get blue belt unless you show up and you continue to learn and you continue to train, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you're white belt, they're like, we'll see how long it lasts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same with in rock climbing. If you're bouldering V1s and V2s, it's like, well, we'll see if he ever gets to 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
We'll see. So, but everyone, like even me at the very beginning of that, it's like, well, how high can I go? Basketball. When can I hit? You know, in a pickup game, when am I going to hit? 8 points or 10 points? Because that's what I want. you know, and it's hard to deny that from yourself. I mean, who doesn't want to win? You know?
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, some people want to win more than others. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's definitely true, but like I said, I don't think that the mindset of wanting to win is necessarily bad, but it has to be like constructive.
I see
Just
what you
like
mean.
when you take on criticism, it's the same way. Like some people hear criticism and it breaks them, right?
Yeah.
And some people would take criticism and then it molds them. You know, then they use it to their advantage. And that's kind of like, you know me, I go through that. Where like I'll get criticized by somebody and I'll be like, fuck that. Fuck that. Like I'll deny it. I'll be pissed at it. I'll try to work against it. And then I embrace it. And then I move forward. And then I get better. But,
Yeah, but
I go through it.
you go through a very defensive period, I've noticed. Like you defend like the behavior that you're kind of already using. You know what I mean? Even like with the jiu-jitsu, like we talked yesterday, is you kind of like, I felt like at least that your defense was that like if I do this and get only good at this, I'll be fine in like a self-defense altercation. But in my mind, it's like, yeah, but you're not really going to get good at jiu-jitsu.
And what I'm defensive about when we talk about stuff like that, I'm defensive because it's like it's almost an attack to me on who I am as a person, as opposed to my actual like my jiu-jitsu. Like I don't take it in as like you're attacking the way I'm training. I'm taking it as like this is who I am. Like at the end of the day, like you can fucking tell Anakin not to hit chokeholds on fucking random ass people and kill younglings, but Anakin wants to fucking wreck the younglings. Like,
I get that, but I mean, like, doesn't that kind of like roll in itself that you even take that personally? You know what I mean?
no, I 100, dude, I've been dealing with this my whole life. You think you're the first one that has critiqued me and I've been defensive? I mean, I've literally done that with everything my entire life, school to my father to friends to spouse, everything. Like it's I do not handle criticism well.
I know, but that's like kind of what the point I was trying to make, and I don't know if it was ever captured, was if you lean into like the vulnerability here at jiu-jitsu in this very structured, like isolated place, you know what I mean? This isolated activity. If you lean into it there, maybe that can help bleed into other parts of your life.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm going, dog.
I know, but you're also kind of like, I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a fuck about that. I only do this. I only do this. I only do this. You know what I mean?
I understand that I have to like I said, I can't turn my mind away. And that was my point, that I can't turn my mind away from what it is. Like it or not, behavior is much easier to change than what your brain does. It's very like it takes a long time for you to change the way your brain processes your emotions and basically everything it ingests. It's not easy to do. I mean, it's like trying to train someone not to panic when they hear loud noises. I mean, that's not simple to do, right?
I'm aware.
But I get through by doing repetition that I might get there. But then there's a part of me that doesn't always want to turn it off necessarily either, because that drive to go that hard and that drive to be a winner and all that, it doesn't serve me poorly all the way through either. So it's like, man, it's really hard to sit there and just say the behavior has to be this. Like, no matter what's going on up in that dome piece, what your body does has to be this. You won't get better unless your body does this.
I get that, but I also see it as like a control. Like how you don't, it seems as if you don't have control over it then, you know what I mean? You can't pick the time and place to let that out.
That's what I'm saying. Is I like behavior-wise is how you let it out, right?
I'm just saying, like, I don't feel like, to me, it's more like mental discipline. It's like, you have to, and it's not easy. You can't just, like, tell you how to do it and you go do it. You got to figure it out for yourself. But in my mind, it's like, you got to learn when and where to let that out. And that, I feel like that's where you're not at yet. But at the same time, I feel like you can get there, but I feel like you'd almost defend not getting there, which I think prolongs you getting to that point.
I defend, like I said, I defend who I am mentally. Like, who I am mentally isn't going to change.
I know, but like,
my sadism isn't going to go away.
Let me put it this way. I'm a very angry person. I used to have a lot more angry outbursts. I have thoughts all the time of wanting to smack people in the mouth or hit this dude over these little transgressions. I put that away. Yeah, I put that away. I channel that and I take that somewhere else. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, like, I smacked old girl in the mouth at Walmart because she was being super rude and disrespectful, and then be like, this is who I am. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know that's very extreme, behavior. But yeah.
That's what I'm saying is
you have to control
in your head. In your head, I still want to smack her in the mouth.
Yeah, but then I don't actually smack her in the mouth and then defend it to you. You know what I mean? That's the difference.
I hear you. And I didn't actually go in there and, like, absolutely act like a fucking asshole the whole time.
I know, but you also didn't want to, like, you wouldn't even roll with me because you didn't want to be in a bad position.
That's not why I didn't roll with you. I rolled with you because you're going to make me tired.
But I even said, like, here's the thing, is like, I was trying to tell you, is like,
your tired isn't the same as mine.
I know how to roll tired.
You can actually push through exhaustion. But you can push through it. Dog, I literally gave up mid-roll in a dominant position and let the dude fucking strangle me because I was so exhausted. I literally can't do it. But I'm not lying. Like, no, I fucking literally can't.
But that's my thought, is like,
how high does your heart rate get normally when you do shit?
When I do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Like $180?
I literally fucking cracked 200.
Okay.
That's like, my max heart rate's supposed to be like 190.
I know, but what's your resting heart rate? Because, like, if you want to compare ceilings, we got to compare bases.
Not necessarily, because your ceilings can still be your ceilings while your bases can be lower.
I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have something to do with how much you elevate your heart rate. Because for me to hit 190 with a resting heart rate of 45, it's a bigger jump, right?
Yeah, but your max heart rate can still be really high while your resting is really low. That's not like.
I didn't. I thought that was. I thought the change itself meant something.
It does because it's like, obviously your resting is your resting, right? So my resting's right around like 60, right around there, and your resting's in the 40s.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, like the amount that you move up, right, for you to get to 80 is going to take more than it takes for me to get to 80, right? Because your resting is you're not doing shit, right? That's sleepy. Sleepy Taylor is at 40.
Yes, sitting down, sleeping, high 40s.
So, like, walking for me is, like, automatic 100.
Damn.
Right? So, I automatically hit 100. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. 100. Which is actually really, really normal.
I guess help me understand this. Why can't you push through? Like, does something negative, like, does something actually physiologically happen?
So, physiologically, like, how it ends up feeling is like being absolutely winded from a sprint.
Yeah.
Like, I can't keep sprinting. Like, I literally, like, if you were to sprint as long as possible and then you were to just, like, go until you drop, that's literally what I do. Like, my muscles, I can contract them and move them around, but I've gone into, like, hyperventilating mode. I've done, like, my body is completely just trying to regain oxygen at this point. Like, it's gone.
Because my thought is, like, I almost threw up twice in that session. Like when I went to the
Yeah.
bathroom, I stood over the can. And I was like, and I'm like, I throw up sometimes in my old gym. Like when I go
Yeah.
hard, I'm just
So
kind of
I've only
wondering.
thrown up once. From doing any physical exercise, I've only thrown up once in my life, and that was when I was on 3 scoops of Jacked at 6 in the morning doing PT.
Oh no, I'll push myself till I throw up. Like it's just, I don't know. Shout out to Kevin Yoder, my baseball coach, for I guess shoving that down my throat back in the day. Pause.
But yeah, it, like physically, what happens to me is like my body just doesn't. It can't go. Like some people, for instance, they say like some people's lactic threshold, right? So you have your threshold of when you go into an anaerobic zone,
Yeah.
right? And some people, like obviously that changes in itself, right?
Mhm.
And then there's also differences in how much lactic acid somebody can handle being in their system.
Yeah.
So basically, they say like Michael Phelps. I think it was Michael Phelps is one of those people that can have just ridiculously high lactic acid rates in his body without it stopping him. And then some people can't have nearly as much, but they don't get into that zone as high. Because Michael Phelps is just like, I can just stay in lactic acid zone. I can stay in the anaerobic zone for a long fucking time and it not trash me. But some people are like, if I'm in that zone for more than, a few minutes, I'm done. And like I've gotten to the point to where it's like I used to be able to push and hold that lactic zone for a really long time. And I still think I can. Like if you were to look at my heart rates, you would see that I probably hold that zone for a really long time, but there's limits. Like I have to actually deliberately train my body to not hit that zone. Is easy.
Yeah. I guess my only thought was, I don't know, maybe I'm being heathenistic here, but when I looked at you, you didn't look very tired. You know what I mean? And that could, like, perception could not always be accurate, but I just kind of looked at you and I was like, you don't seem like, you know what I mean? I didn't seem like you were at that point to me, but I don't know how you feel, obviously.
Yeah. No, I get it. Like, you have to remember, like, you've also seen me, like,
That's what I mean. I've seen you
basically
push and dig and go past these limits. So it was like, I don't know, it was different to me to be like I can't go anymore. I was like, really?
I think my
not to say
medicine
anything.
also kind of like holds me down as well a little bit.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Because the one I was on before definitely did. Like the reason why my doctor changed from my last one was because like I would go play basketball and I was like, dude, I can't. Like it limited me. Like it made it to where I couldn't go further. But at the same time, like he's like, oh, we'll just put you on magnesium supplements, right? We'll just increase this and we'll see if it eliminates your arrhythmia and holds you down. And I gave him my heart rate data, and I played a game of basketball for like, the normal just a game of to 21, and I hit 220.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, no. We're not letting you
that's
go
fucking
there.
high.
Right, and even he said, he goes, some people's, like, he goes, yeah, your max heart rate is, they calculate 220 minus your age, whatever. He said, but some people are higher than that. He goes, you probably have a higher max heart rate than what your age says you should have, but that doesn't mean that he wants me all the way up that high. Like, if I hit 200, he's like, you should probably chill the fuck out. It's pretty much like the advice that I get from my doctor at this point. And not only that, but here's the other side of this coin of why I didn't want to roll with you, is it doesn't help me when I'm already at that point. Like, I'm just dying.
I know, but I think what I was failing to express was I'm not trying to do like a me win, you win kind of round. I'm just kind of do like, let's flow.
Because I'm expecting to lose already.
Like, I thought it was
I'm
like,
already
let's
going
just
in
flow
with the
through
L.
positions.
But like I said, it's like hopping back on the wall. It's like running the floor, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I can't run the floor right now, dog.
That's fair. Like I can't get another one. Like sorry, coach.
Like I can. You're basically suggesting light layup drills, and I'm like, I can't run the floor right now. Like I'm not gonna be able to do fucking layups with you, dog.
That makes sense.
It's weird though. Like I said, I wanted to roll with you, but I know that I probably have 3 or 4 rolls at whatever level. Like I'm gonna try to see if I can get like 5 rolls in next time,
Yeah.
like 5 full rolls, and just like I don't. My goal this time, man, is just to see like if I can just survive, just like
Yeah, I was gonna
get
ask,
tapped
like,
as little as possible. Is my goal.
have you ever tried, like, I did this for a while to get my, like, survival and my cardio up. I just didn't try to, like, do anything good in my first few rounds. Like, I just saved my energy, let them kind of, like, dominate positions. I would, like, avoid, like, being mounted and things like that, like really degrading positions. But, you know, I'd let them kind of control the pace and just survive to just get the reps in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be like, could I muscle out this transition or the sweep or the scramble? Yeah, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna work out of it. I'm gonna learn to work out of it, and I'm also gonna learn how to like be efficient with my energy.
Yeah.
I did that for
Yeah.
a long time.
I
But I don't
think
know.
I think once I get my cardio right, I'll return to offense. But
Yeah,
I'm
because I
going
feel like
in
smeshing
purely defense.
takes so much energy to do.
It does until you get the dominant position.
That's
And
what I
then
mean.
it's
But
easy.
like acquiring that dominant position takes so much effort, so much like consistent. Like you gotta stay and grind that shit out. Like once you get it, yeah, you can kind of rest. But like I feel like you expend a lot of energy getting to
Yeah,
that
I had to
position.
ragdoll 2 people to get there.
That's what I mean. It's like, you know, a balance. You smash a little bit here, you start to get a little tired. You know, play the bad position role, learn how to escape.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I definitely appreciate your perspective no matter what. Like these
Yeah,
I've
and
always
it's like,
said that like you want your friends to be honest with you. Like we live in this time of like cut the toxic people out, and it's like, well, you don't know. You guys are like, a lot of people are using toxicity as like
as
an
like, I just don't
excuse.
want to hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, no, like you're my best friend. If you tell me that like I'm making excuses to basically fucking roll way too hard and I'm not going to get out of it, and that I need to change my behavior and really like button up my mind on this, then like that's being a good friend. Like
Yeah,
even if you're wrong, that's the crazy thing is like even if I don't agree with you and I think that you have the wrong idea, you're still being a good friend.
yeah. I'm just, you know, I'm not saying anything to be hurtful. I'm
No.
telling you what I think will benefit you in the longer run.
It took me a long time to get there though, to where I wasn't like, "Fuck you," like
Yeah,
with not necessarily with like everybody though,
I can
like
see
everybody who's ever done that.
in the initial exchange of that too. Like, yeah, it's gonna put you on your heels. You're gonna be like, hold on a second, what the fuck you trying to say? You know what I mean? But it's really just like smeshing is good, and you're good at it already. Like for your level, you're already smeshing people you shouldn't be. So it's like if you got better at these positions, you would be this much better.
Yeah, and even when I get into those dominant positions, I'm like I even have those like the back of my head being like, oh, he could probably get out of this. Like if the person I'm rolling with goes 100%, I can't match their 100 right now, and like
I see
that's the
what you're saying.
cardio insecurity that I have, because like old the blue belt with the elbows you said,
Yeah,
that dude has ridiculous cardio, and he's stronger than me. So like
shout out to my
I'm
lip. He's got a great drop elbow.
like with him, I was literally looking at it from the perspective. I was like, if he goes 100%, I'm gonna get fucked up.
I mean, but
Like,
yeah,
and I have to tone him down and like tone down his aggression to match my aggression. Like these are mental games that I have to like play with everybody.
but here's my thought though, real quick. He's supposed to fuck you up. He's a blue belt. He's supposed to fuck you up. Like at the end of the day, that's what's supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
But having this little like backdoor mindset that I don't ever want it to happen isn't bad though.
I
I
mean,
still don't. I'm not gonna like. I'm not unhappy. It's like what I say to the guy at darts the other night. He beat me and he threw well, and I said I'm never upset when somebody throws better than me and beats me. Like, so when somebody rolls better than me and beats me, I deserve to lose, and I'm okay with that. Right? I'm okay
Yeah.
with losing, but at the same time, I'm not going in there because I don't want to get out techniqued. I don't want to get, strangled. Like, it's really hard for me to turn that off, man. Like,
Oh, I know. Like I had to. You're talking to a guy who's had to do the same thing already. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm trying to That's why I'm trying to give it to you, is because I feel like I've had to do this myself already.
it's like in basketball, if you were to say, hey, man, I need you to practice your chase down blocks, so I want you to let him by you every single time and then try to beat his shit off the glass. It's like, well, I don't want him to fucking get by me. How about I just rip him right here?
I get that, but it's like you gotta eye on the goal. You know what I mean? What's the real goal?
I hear you.
Because these are your training partners. Like, this is where you're supposed to take all. Your coach even, his speech was pretty good, so shout out to him on that one. Like, I like what he said. He's basically like, this is where you take your L's and get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took me a long time when I first started doing jiu-jitsu. It took me months and months to where, I used to get mad and go home and be, in my fucking head, just like, motherfucker, why'd that happen? What, you know what I mean? And then it got to a point that it's like, I would get fucking worked over by a blue belt, and I wouldn't even care. I'd just be like, yo, I figured out how to escape an armbar in the midst of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got armbarred 6 times, but I got out on the 7th one, and then I got out on the 8th one. I was like, ooh, we learned something.
I'm very conscious of the whole idea that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is one of the most humbling experiences that you can go through in your entire life.
And that's why I like it, because, it keeps me in fucking check.
It's when you first do it, I challenge anybody. Most gyms will offer a free class. You can go to a free class, go to a real, try to find a Gracie Barra or something like that.
Something with some accreditation to it.
Something with some notoriety. Go in there, try a class, go, learn the techniques, and then, you're going to feel good. That's the thing, is when you drill the techniques the first time and you're doing it, you're going to be like, oh man, this feels good. This is fairly simple. You're like, I can do that technique. And what you don't realize is that there are thousands of techniques.
So many
right?
combinations.
They sell flow charts from Gordon Ryan and these really good people for $40 a pop on how to memorizing flow charts to basically get everything that you need. Be if they do this, then you do this. If they do this, then you do this. And having all those back pocketed is what real jiu-jitsu practitioners do, is that they have an answer for everything. So when you actually get past this, I learned this one technique today, or maybe we learned maybe 3 techniques in our gym. Then you go roll and everybody wrecks you. You lose constantly by everybody in the class. And then you go watch the guy that you just got smoked by and strangled, and you go watch him roll somebody else, and then he gets wrecked by that dude, and you're like, what the hell?
It's a hierarchy.
Yeah. So it's super humbling, man. And it's really hard, especially for people that had success in other spots in athletics. It's really hard for people that I think if you were to take Tiger Woods and send him to jiu-jitsu class when he was 21 years old, I think it would have pissed him off so bad to get wrecked. You have to think, the guy who's been good at golf his whole life gets put into another situation where they get wrecked. And that's probably why he trained with the Navy SEALs. It's probably because he got out there and he's like, oh, these guys will kill me.
Well, Tiger's got that mindset too, to the extreme that we were talking about earlier. That is him, but extreme. But I like the aspect of jiu-jitsu. You come in here and we're kind of equals in the sense that it doesn't matter what your job is, who you are, what you do outside of here. When you get on the mat, it's just you and another dude attempting to simulate murder upon each other. And it's all it really comes down to is it doesn't even matter who's bigger, who's stronger at a certain point. Once you get to that point of technique, it's who knows what they're doing more, who has better technique, who has better discipline. You can be way bigger than me, way smaller than me. It doesn't matter. As a white belt, it kind of does because we don't really know shit as white belts, let's be honest. So size plays a factor. And even size plays a factor, too, in higher ranks. But for the most part, if you come in and you're a white belt like me, 200 pounds, 6 foot, there's a blue belt girl at my last gym who probably weighed 110 pounds, and she just would maul me and just devastate my life. And there's like nothing I could do. And it's like, it doesn't matter that I'm 100 pounds heavier than her. She knows what she's doing, and I don't.
And this doesn't happen with every martial art. It doesn't happen with every martial art. Like, that's what's crazy is that, like, I've told people that, like, if you go to an Aikido gym, right, and you go in there and the black belt in Aikido, right, the guy who's probably teaching you stuff, right, this guy is the man. Like, he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
But if you've boxed for, like, a year,
you're going to fuck him up.
It's over.
Fuck him up heavy.
It's over. Like, he's going to do some stuff, and you're going to be like, huh, that's interesting.
If you can box well, too, and keep your weight back, it's like...
It's kind of like, you know, when people say, like hitting a softball is harder than hitting a baseball.
I felt that way, yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's true. That's true. It is harder than hitting a baseball, like, objectively harder than hitting a baseball. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Until... Like, then they're like, oh, they put MLB people trying to hit off of a softball player. And you're like, yeah, I get that. Like, the ball moves up. It comes from a different position. It's harder to read the break.
Yeah.
But it's like, eventually he times it up.
And then
like,
it's game time.
And then he's launching them. Like Aaron Judge, right? If you don't think, like, Aaron or Giancarlo Stanton, if you don't think he can just thwack a softball, you're out of your mind.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna
he doesn't know your game.
The first handful are going to look ugly, but once he figures it out, it's over.
Yeah. That's kind of like what the tier 1 martial arts are. It's like wrestling, right? So you put like Cale Sanderson out there versus a somebody of equal size in jiu-jitsu. It's like, yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
But wrestling's all about getting someone on the ground and putting them on their back. Well, the jiu-jitsu guy wants to be there.
Yeah, he'll probably go straight there for you.
And now you're in his world.
Yeah. It's not about, like, especially, like, you always see, like, oh, wrestlers beat jiu-jitsu players. Usually those are in pointed matches. Those aren't, like, submission-style matches.
Right.
When you watch them, like, you ever see wrestlers go against jiu-jitsu guys when it's pure submission-based only, they hardly ever win.
Right. Right. And even striking is the same way. Like, you put a boxer in there with a Muay Thai guy. Boxing has no place.
Not if, yeah. Boxing's a beautiful art, and I love boxing, but boxing has a lot of limitations surrounding it. Distance, space, clenching, you know what I mean? Like, boxers get, like, toe-to-toe and just lean into each other. Like, nowhere in the real world of, like, self-defense or physical altercation is anyone going to Philly shell and then shoulder check me, like, at my waistline and me not just sprawl them to the fucking ground. You know what I mean?
Right. So, like, for instance, the Ben Askren Jake Paul fight.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Right? So, that fight ended in roughly a minute, right? I believe it was a little bit less than a minute.
That's trash.
But Ben Askren clinched him in that minute.
Yeah.
And in that moment, in a real fight, that fight was over. In that moment.
In a real life physical altercation, Ben Askren would have just killed that young man right there.
That exact moment, it was over. And that's the same thing with the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight. As soon as they clinched.
Conor
clinched, it was over.
Circling around him, like, Conor, like, we all know that, but it's odd to see, like, the casual common person get so geeked out over a boxing match without understanding the limitations that come in with that.
Yeah, and it's funny because the UFC is like, all these guys are like irritated with the whole Jake Paul thing, and they're like, hey, we need to put a real striker in there. And it's like, well, I got news for you. Jake Paul's not a slouch.
No,
Like,
not by any means.
he can throw hands.
It's like we've been talking about this. He's been taking boxing seriously for years now. Like, that man is, in my mind, that man's a boxer. It's just to what caliber?
Right. And it would be interesting to see, like, what level of hands it would take for, like, what level of hands the UFC strikers are at.
Well, have you
I would
seen
like to see that.
Have you seen the Mike Perry, Jake Paul sparring footage that Mike Perry leaked?
I still haven't seen it. You've told me about it, though.
It's basically Jake Paul on his fucking horse circling the edge of the ring as Mike Perry jabbed 2-3s his ass all around.
Makes sense.
And Jake Paul tries to throw jabs and Mike Perry just foreheads them and keeps coming like Mike Perry does.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't think. Well, Mike Perry obviously wants to fight with Jake Paul because he wants that fucking money. He's only got one fight left on his contract, and UFC ain't been looking so hot for him lately. But Dana White said no UFC fighters are going to be fighting Jake Paul. And they even took legal action against Jake Paul, Triller, and Jake Paul's team and gave them cease and desist from contacting contracted UFC fighters or they'll be sued.
Well.
So that could also be Dana saying, like, if you want to talk, you talk to me. We don't, you know what I mean? So it's not completely out of the question.
Well, I do think it's funny that Jake Paul said that he would beat DC's fat ass.
He's just capping for clout. Let's be honest. You know it.
Man, he would have such a bad time.
Jake Paul's a stout young man. I didn't realize how big he was.
Yeah.
He cut weight to 190. Been asking to eat marshmallows to get there.
Yeah.
He looks so
Fat.
fat. Like, why did you do that? He had a big old fat crease on the top of his trunks from the belt line guard.
He knew. He knew.
Bro, he didn't even try. He just stood there.
He knew he was gonna get knocked out.
I think he did. Man, for $500,000, I ain't mad at him.
He had to.
I think that's why Woodley, I don't know if you've seen the footage of Woodley and Jake Paul talking before the fight backstage, talking shit with, like, Jay Levon Love. Jake Paul's, like, one of his cornermen. He's basically saying that he'd fuck Woodley up. They're basically trolling, and it's kind of working because you can see T. Wood getting angry, but, like, keeping his composure. But we all know that Tyron Woodley fuck you up. Like, come on. He's like, you don't want to see me. He's like, you don't want to see me. And Willie's like, I'm a 5-time champion. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, but you don't want to see me. And Woodley's just, like, not engaging because you can tell he's, like, getting mad under the surface. But in my head, I'm like, bro, Tyron Woodley will fucking eat you. Like, stop it. Stop it. Like, what are you... I don't like this clout bullshit that we're doing on the internet now. It's like, I'm going to just talk shit, like, recklessly. That makes no fucking sense. And I really don't like it when you do it to people that you know can't do anything. Like, Tyron Woodley is a contracted UFC fighter. He's a big name. He can't blast you in the back of the locker room or go, like, have an expedition out with you somewhere. Like, so you're talking shit from the safety of, like, your keyboard. It's like talking shit on fucking Facebook to people you don't know. You know
That's why I need Jake Paul to, like, do this to Jorge.
Oh, he don't want to do that. I think he knows better.
Because Jorge will do it.
Jorge's one of those ones that will ignore those consequences and just smack you up in Whole Foods.
Who else is on that list? Who else would do it?
I feel like Mike Perry would. If you talk to him if you talk to Mike Perry the way that dude was talking to Woodley, I think Mike Perry might take a cut at you backstage because I think he don't care.
Jorge would do it.
Jorge'd do it. Nate Diaz would smack you.
Nate Diaz, what's funny about Nate Diaz, he would actually just slap you.
Like, for real, he'd Stockton slap you. He'd smack you and he would do this. Stockton, motherfucker.
That's actually a fight I wouldn't mind seeing, even though I think Nate might lose.
Yeah, I don't know how appropriately Nate would go into that fight. You know what I mean? I'd like to see Nick do it. That'd be a good thing for Nick. Good thing for Nick Diaz to do.
Yeah, I think the press conferences would be amazing with Nate Diaz, though.
That's the thing. That little presser, you're not going to slap a body shot on Nate or Nick Diaz and then think that nothing's going to happen, Mr. Paul.
No, definitely not.
Some shit's gonna pop off at that point.
Definitely not. And I think Jake Paul, the reason why him and Conor McGregor would never actually do that, A, Conor's I think too small, but B,
Too small.
We've already seen that Conor's too unstable to for Dana to, I don't think Dana wants to deal with that. Because I could see things being thrown, dollies, water bottles.